Hey, the PMP exam is one of the most difficult tests for professionals, and we've heard this from everyone. But not to worry, you have a coach who eats the PMBOK for lunch. Here he is to set the record straight for you, your friend Phil.
Well. They always tell you never to say never. Well, over the past number of weeks, I had been very skeptical that our friends at headquarters would not hold true to their promise. And the reason why I thought this was for a number of reasons. First of all, this wouldn't have been the first time they promised something and didn't do it. So I was very, very skeptical and not wanting to take the bait. However, there's always a however. However, my esteemed colleague, Sandra, happened to share a rather curious page with me this afternoon, and many of us other education providers were able to see the page, and it is a sign of things not to come, and I want to say a huge thank you to you, Sandra, for sharing this. But not a shadow of things to come, but things that are probably happening right now. So for those of you that eased off the gas and said, I've got till 2021, think again. Your friends at headquarters, they've been busy. They've been busy. I'll show you the page of interest. For many of you that are wondering, what exactly is he talking about? Let's take a look. There's the logo. They're the logos. We've got two logos here. And what do we see in red? Due to increased demand, check-in wait times may be up to 30 minutes. But not just that, you need to backtrack and take a look at what it says. Test taker home. Project Management Institute. On-view online proctored. It seems as if they've done it, my friends. It seems as though very shortly, if not already, I know some of you might have already gotten an email. Some of you might already know about this. But it shows that very soon, my friends, you will be able to schedule your PMP exam right there from the comfort of your own home. Provided you can get family members to tone it down, or you've got an office where you can lock yourself up in a room. But it looks as though they really did hold true to their promise. They said mid-April. And I was very skeptical. Don't blame me. I'm a skeptic. Indeed. Because I've been bitten pretty badly, in the past. I've been, they say once bitten, twice shy. I've been bitten more than once, thinking stuff was going to change, and it didn't change. So you cannot blame me for thinking, nah, ain't going to happen. It seems like they really are going to pull this off, from what I just showed you. So I don't know. Have you guys gotten the email, an email, anything to that effect? I'm just curious to know if you've heard anything about the PMP exam. Have you? Now, there's no formal announcement. I know some of you are already scampering off to the PMI page to look for this. There's no formal announcement just yet. But like I told you, one of my esteemed colleagues, and we have our ways, one of my esteemed colleagues shared the information just, a few hours ago. And Pearson View, the PMP exam is now available for scheduling as an online proctored test from your home or office. See that? Online testing begins next Tuesday, April 14th. But you can schedule it now if you have an approved application from the PMI. It reads, and an exam authorization code. So if you have a code and you've heard from your friends at headquarters, then it's highly likely that you will be able to do this. Now, before I jumped on this webinar, there was additional information that was showing on this page, but all of a sudden that information has vanished. So I don't know if they're realizing that people are now beginning to go to the page. Maybe it's not fully ready, but it's the sign of things to come, my friends. So if I were you, I would start dusting up my books. I'd get ready, and hopefully by next week, we'll be seeing the page I just showed you, which don't ask me for the link, because I don't want to be, I won't be showing you stuff our friends haven't legitimately shared, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you're thinking of leaving your books lying fallow for another month, it's probably time for you to dust them up, my friends. Okay? And that's really what I came on here to tell you. I just wanted to give you a pre-taste of what is coming down the pike. Okay? I know some of you are still skeptical. Is this true? Trust me, I'm not fooling around. This was shared by one of my esteemed colleagues who's a registered education provider, just like I am, and names withheld. We don't want to divulge any information as far as who let the cat out of the bag. But there's a cat. That's the bottom line. There is a cat. So all I'm telling you, my friends, get ready. You will hear an announcement pretty soon. You'll say, oh, that failed. He probably was right. He probably wasn't lying. No, I'm serious. So how many of you have kept studying? Have you kept the momentum going, or did you turn off the light? If you did, it's time to turn it back on. If you've forgotten your knowledge areas, your process groups, your ITTOs, if you haven't been going to the PMI study hall, the projectmanagement.com/study hall daily, now's the time to start. And if you're scrambling for a plan, well, you just need to come for my training. Go to pmsucceed.com. We had a class on Monday. We had a class on Wednesday. We had a class on Friday. Today, we just finished the class. So get back on the horse, my friends. Okay? Do you have any questions for me about this? I just wanted to let you know you need to dust your books. This is coming. Next week, you're going to hear an announcement. You'll hear an announcement. I know everyone's at home. The folks from PMI are working remote, so you're not going to hear much. But I am not going to share with you the special link. If you got it from somewhere else, that's fine. But I don't think it's right for me to share it with you, other than to let you know something's coming next week. Down the pike pretty quick. Dust your books and get ready. All right, that's all. I just want to give you a little bit of hope for the weekend. Okay? Jose, how you doing? Jose says, Phil is always ready and right. I try to be on top of it, and I try to heckle them. So if perchance they watched my heckling video, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to prove him wrong. Good, you proved me wrong. I mean, I just want my students to take the exam before they run out of gas. Look, it's been very hard during this tough time, keeping up the momentum. And some people are getting to the brink where they're like, I don't know how long I can keep running for. I don't know how long I can keep reading this ridiculous 756-page book for. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know how much more money I can keep forking out to stay afloat, taking these ridiculous mock exams. I understand. That's why I show up every now and again to encourage you. I try to put stuff on almost 24/7 to keep the momentum going, okay? I really want to see you guys certified PMPs, move on, do bigger things. There are many bigger things than PMP, obviously. Many bigger things. But getting the PMP, like I told you, it was the multiplier for me. It multiplied what I was getting by 300%. So maybe that's you. Maybe you're not in a place you want to be financially, and the PMP is a way out. Trust me, it was a way out for me. It might be the way out for you. Maybe you're looking at getting much more than you're making now. Don't give up. Do what you can and add, your understanding of how medical systems work. For some of you, it's something else. Oh, I can see my friends. Sadaf. Sadaf is in my class, currently going. How are you, Sadaf? This is good news, right? Sadaf says, is it a good idea to take... One of the pros is you don't have to travel to the test center. But one of the cons is your internet connection had better be working. Like you got some crazy neighbors that are playing WoW all day long. And, they're on EA playing crazy games. You're probably going to run out of bandwidth really quick. But if you don't have internet hordes around you, then maybe your connection will work nicely. But that's why if you go to the page I just showed you, which you can't because I would need to give you the link, which I won't because I want to be fair to the PMI. But if you go to this page, it says test my system. You want to test the system. Sadaf, if you can test your system and it is working well and you've got a quiet place at home, I don't see anything wrong in going for it. But will you be distracted? Like someone said, I found it weird and uncomfortable with a proctor at the other end staring at me all throughout the exam and sending me messages. Look up. Don't do that. Don't speak to yourself. No, you cannot read the exam questions out aloud to yourself and all sorts of other fun stuff. So if you feel uncomfortable with stuff like that, I wouldn't take it at home. But if you're like, I don't care, what's the difference between the proctor at Pearson staring at me on a screen, because they've got that big screen where they divide it into like 20 or 16 different cameras, and every little move they can see on the screen. What's the difference between that? Hope this comes out right, Phil. Hopefully PMP doesn't lose the standard. That has been a concern many places. But let's think about this, Samod. I can see my other friends. Johanny, how are you? I hope you're keeping up the momentum. I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? Are you still knocking it out of the park, Johanny? I hope you are. I'm looking forward to you being one of the people that takes this thing at home, because I don't want you to have to wait till the test centers open, whenever that will be. Who knows when that will be? And that's why I'm trying to prepare everyone's mind to think about this as a viable option. This is something you guys need to be thinking about. Seriously. Test out the system. Clear the area. I showed you in the last video I did about this, I showed you that student who cleared out his desk with a purpose to take in the exam from home. Not the PMP exam, but a Microsoft exam. And I showed you my video of when I took my Prince 2 exam at home. You got to clear the whole place and make it spick and span, but start working on that stuff. Don't set your mind on June. No. Don't say, I'm going to do... No. ASAP. Why? Because if you've built up to a crescendo, you don't want that momentum to vanish. You don't want things to just flatten so drastically that you're going to have to pick up the pieces again for another 3 months. No, you don't want that. And that's why I'm having the class right now, so that those looking at taking the exam from home, the moment we're done, the moment you're taking all your mock exams and I've made you bulletproof, you're ready. So going to Samod's point about the concern, Samod, can you share with me some further insights as to your concern about taking the exam at home? Or how do you think taking the exam at home can diminish the standard? Do you want to expand on that? Can anyone tell me, how do you think taking the PMP exam at home will diminish its credibility? The Scrum Alliance is doing it. Microsoft has done it. The Prince 2 exam, I took my foundation exam for Prince 2 at home. The CAPM exam is online at home if you want. The ACP is online at home. The CSM is now online at home. My friends, this is the face of the future. We got to embrace it. It was going to come sooner or later. The question is, when was it going to get here? It's already here. It's already here. I mean, if you've got cousins, nephews, nieces, kids, they're already telling you, oh, so I can do all my schoolwork at home. Why do I need to go to school? It's the face of the changing world we're living in right now. Because guess what? Let's be honest. Let's be real. We're not looking to see a second wave of this craziness. But what happens if there is? You think Prometric would ever open for the next 60 days, 100 days, 360 days, let alone 30 days? No. So it's important that we roll with the punches that we're being dealt with right now. Life must go on, and part of life going on is finding a way for business to continue in all these entities, key entities. An entity like the PMI, they're hemorrhaging equity right now. They're hemorrhaging revenues. I said, in my estimate of things, PMI has definitely lost at least $8 million. In my estimate of things, I can put my money on it that they've lost going to 10 million right now. And that's a lot of money. And it's important that they roll with the punches, they reinvent themselves, because the PMP, we already know that the PMP is the most widely regarded certification in the world. So think about it. If everyone who takes the PMP exam pays at least $555, combining membership fees and all that, whatever, but if every one of those people multiply 555 by, let's say, 1,000 people, 2,000 people in a month, some months it's so peaked up that it becomes 8,000 people taking the PMP in a month. Go figure. Check out those fees. And the PMI needs these monies. They need these monies. It's a non-profit, but they're doing a lot of things. So leaving that money on the table to COVID is dumb. They need to reinvent, and that's what they've done. So I don't begrudge them for reinventing how the PMP will be dispersed. Now, what they can do is they can beef up the number of proctors available, because each person needs a proctor. So I'm guessing that each person that's proctoring may have a certain number of people to view on the screen. And that's how they do it. And that's how they're going to make their money and not go under. I don't want PMI to go under. I want them to stay afloat. I want them to keep doing the great things you're doing. But I understand your concern, because a client of mine said the same thing. The moment I told this client of mine that the PMI was thinking of doing this stuff online, they almost had a meltdown. What? PMP Online? That's the end. That's the end of the PMP. Forget it. I said, why do you say that? So I'm asking Samad why Samad said that, but I haven't really seen any response. Let me tell you why people think taking an exam at home will diminish it. Do you know why? Why would you say that? Let's see. Did we get any chats to that effect? Oh, Johanny, very good. Trying to keep up momentum. Good. Fatty says, but at home, you can get access to the book. No, Fatty. So I've shared a number of these things on my previous video. If you're taking the CAPM exam at home, okay, or the PMP exam at home, or the ACP at home, first of all, you need to have a webcam. So just the same way you're looking at me, imagine I'm taking an exam. If I reach for a book or a device, that's the end of my exam right there. They don't take any prisoners. So if you're caught referring to a book, opening up a book, cheating in any way, that's it. But they don't even wait for you to start cheating. They ask you to hold your webcam and show around the room. Show everyone around the room, right? You show whoever's proctoring you around the room to show them there's nothing around you. No drawers, just like a table. Everything is closed and put away. Then your ID card. You also need to film your ID card. And the moment you've done all that and set your camera, then they ask you to start. You are not allowed to get up. You're not allowed to look at anything. And if you're caught doing that, your exam comes to an end. But where do I start from? Fadi and my other friend who chatted in, Your name escapes me now. Oh, Samod. Yes. If I gave you the PMBOK Guide 6th edition, even if I opened it to the chapter that you think the question is from, I can assure you, in my estimate of things, 80% of those questions cannot be answered by you opening up some page in the PMBOK Guide. They can't. I can tell you firsthand. How do I know this? By taking multiple exams. I've taken the PMP, the CAPM, the ACP, the RMP, the SP, the CAPM, the OPM3, and my OPM3 exam was like 3 exams in one. There was even a final exam in OPM3. They give you the PMBOK Guide. They give you the Program Management Standard. They give you the standard for Organizational Project Management Maturity. Even with the books, even with all the mountain of books, nope, you can't answer the questions with the books alone. You need to have a lot of this stuff in your head. And guess what? If you dare open up a book, do you know how much time it saps? And I know this because, like I told you, my OPM3 was 3 exams in one. The first exam, I made the mistake of wasting my time looking for answers in a book. And guess how many minutes you spend looking in a book for an answer? 2, 3, 4. But that's for one question. Now, what happens if you did that for 50 questions? Your exam's almost over. So even if you have the PMBOK Guide, the PMI aren't stupid. They know. They know that even if you had the PMBOK Guide to open, if you're going to pass it, you'll pass it. If you're not, even with all the PMBOK guides and even your study guide, even a calculator that's a scientific calculator, you still wouldn't pass the exam. The exam is a crazy exam. Trust me when I tell you. So the PMI know what they're doing. They're not dumb. They're very good at counting the cost. The cost of giving you the exam to take from home. Instead, some people will actually not do very well. Like Sadaf was concerned, a lot of people won't do well taking the exam at home because their psychological state is not made up for that. They would do better if they went to Pearson. So PMI isn't stupid. Even our mock exam, if I gave you the PMBOK Guide to open up all day long, do you know all it does not make it easier. It does not, because the questions are what they are. Taking a question that asks you, product analysis is blah, 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 blah. What would you do next? Taking it at home doesn't make it any easier for you to know, okay, what should come after a product analysis? You either know it or you don't. You either know what they're talking about is a product analysis, because they may not even use the real word. They may dress it up. And if you don't know it, you don't know it. Or they ask you, MCDA has been used for this. What should you do after the MCDA? Opening up the PMBOK Guide is not going to help you. Trust me. It's only going to confuse you. It's going to make you sweat them all. So PMI are not dumb. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. And I think it's a good idea for people to move on. This is the year 2020. Come on now. There are many ways. Security, another way. Let me give you this one. Another way they can check to see what you're doing, they've got full view of your screen. So if you think you can open up another application or another window, another browser, that's the end of your exam, because they can see everything happening on your screen, your mouse movements, your keystrokes. As long as that exam has started, guess who's checking up on you? There. So the security is very tight. There's no way. Even on my Prince 2 exam, which was very similar, I took it at home. There's no way. How am I going to open up another browser? How am I even going to look at a phone if it had the answers? No way. So I do not see it as diminishing the credibility of the exam. I just see it as giving my friends, you guys, opportunity to take the exam and move on with your life. That's all we want. Okay? Anil, how you doing, Anil? Anil says exam from home in case candidates can pass the exam easily. How are you going to do that, Anil? Are you going to be like one of those movies where you put a movie in front of the webcam to show that you're still there when you're not? Come on now. Not possible. Fatty says, access to an ebook. They can see what's going on your computer, Fatty. They can see. You cannot block them. They can see everything, all your movements. They can see the apps that are open. Does that make sense? Can we still do a brain dump? Very good question. So I asked this question, and my colleagues, they answered. And the consensus was no, because in the CAPM you cannot, and in the ACP you cannot. However, I don't know what the case will be for the PMP, but I think it might be one of those things where the PMI makes a concession downstream, maybe, or you just take the hit and say, well, if I'm taking it at home, I can't do a brain dump. Simple as that. Now, when I brought this up in the group, one of my esteemed colleagues, Kyron, said, well, he would see maybe the PMI making concession because in all honesty, it's not entirely fair if the playing field changes, because PMP is a different animal with this brain dump. It has almost cult following. People are so engrossed in the brain dump. This afternoon, Sadaf, we did this whole brain dump thing as well. So the brain dump is a big deal. So we just need to wait and see what PMI says. Because things are the way they are right now, honestly, it's like a dinosaur moving along. We put up this question on the forum like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we've not heard from the PMI yet, from the forum for us registered education providers. But I just take it like I got to take the hit if I'm taking it from home. So just make up your mind in that regard. Sadaf says, do you think they're going to make the exam more hard since people are taking it from home? More hard? Sadaf, please don't work for the PMI. You're giving them ideas. More hard would mean people may need to be carried out on a stretcher from their own home. The exam is already crazy as it is. It's a sick exam. It's sick. Think about it, Sadaf. Think about it. Think about an exam that you take and you're wondering, am I going to pass it? Good Lord help me. Am I going to pass it? Good Lord help me. Am I going to pass it? I think I'm going to fail it. I think I'm going to fail it. Oh, I can't look. Then you hit the end button. The result comes up. 5 above targets. What kind of exam is that? You think you're going to fail all the way to the score bank only for you to get to the end? And you hit end exam and you did so amazingly well. The highest ever, 5 ATs. That exam is a demented exam. For you to think I'm going to fail, to go from I'm going to fail to 5 stars. Think about it. So when I took my PMP exam, same experience. 20 questions in 1 hour. I said, Phil, you got 180 questions to answer in 3 hours. You got to be hitting 60 an hour. It doesn't look like you're going to pass this exam. You're guessing for most of the questions from 1 to 20. So I started taking my exam at that point from 200 back to question 20. When all was said and done, I did not fail a single area. I thought I would. I was already, writing my eulogy for the PMP warrior who was slain by the PMP exam in battle. But at the end of the exam, I did so amazingly well. It was ridiculous. I didn't fail any area. My highest area was professional responsibility because I used to break it down in those days, and I had a 90, and I got 70s and 80s in all the other ones, and my lowest was I think it was a 64, something like that in closing, or one of those, either initiating or closing. But the passing score used to be disclosed at that time, and it was 60.5. So I didn't get less than that. My lowest was a 64, but all the others was 70s and 80s and 90. Go figure. You think you're going to fail an exam, you actually pass it. Doesn't that tell you the exam is crazy? There's no predicting the PMP exam. It's very, 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 very weird. Very weird. So Sadaf, please don't tell them to make it harder. It's already horrible. It's a horrible exam. NC Worker, how are you? Good to see you. Someone says, Phil, the security could certainly be tampered with. On your machine? How? I've just told you. Look, I got to be dramatic here. I could give you this. My esteemed colleagues Ginger Levin and J. Leroy Ward. I could give you this. I could give you Plunkett, Atner, and Allen. I could give you the art of leadership. I could give you all of my PMBOK guides. Let's get them out. All of them. I could give you all of these PMBOK guides. Past, present, future. Look, if you're going to fail the exam, this will not help. Books, I'm telling you, the PMP exam is not an input-output exam. I don't know what more to say to convince you guys. But look, trust me, I don't work for the PMI. They don't pay me to say any of this. But if there's one thing I'll say about the PMP exam, it's this. The exam is crazy. And you cannot fool the exam. You cannot. You cannot fool the exam. Those people that try to cheat, the moment they're caught, that is going to be it. There's not going to be a second chance. Why would you risk that? Why would you risk that? You know, so let's say you tamper with security and you pretend that you do not have a PMBOK open. You've got 4 hours. You spend 3 to 4 minutes researching a question. Time's ticking. If you're going to fail, you're going to fail. If you're going to pass, you're going to pass. So all of those are myths. Trust me. If I was taking the PMP exam at home, even if I had the PMBOK guide, look, you would have such a headache. If by the time you encounter the questions, you're already having such a headache. You don't want to compound it by having to open a book to find answers because it will not help you. Trust me. I don't work for the PMI, but I know a little bit after taking. So let me go over it again. I've taken the PMP. I took the CAPM in 2011. I took it again when it expired in 2016. I took the RMP. I took the SP. I took the ACP. I took the OPM3, which is like taking 3 exams. So I've had experiences with the PMI on the exams for like 9 times. I know what I'm talking about. Even if anybody gave me open PMBOK guide, it won't help. It won't help. Maybe it'll waste your time a little bit, and you might find some inkling into ITTOs, but the questions are not ITTO questions. Did you take the PMI PMP mock exam that they put out like 3 or 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago? If you took that, then you know what I'm talking about. Because they made it available. They said it was for folks out of India. They made it available, but other people were able to take it. Taking that exam should just tell you there's no way. And I'm glad you're sharing all of this because I know the PMI watches my videos. Because very few people tell you the truth like I am telling you. So I know people from the PMI are watching these videos. I know that they're taking account of what I'm saying and getting ideas. How can we make the exam more bulletproof? So this is one of the channels for the PMP that has a massive number of people viewing. And I have reasonable evidence that the PMI is watching my videos. But I won't tell you how I know that. But I do know that. And I know that when the PMI hears what I'm saying, they're going to go back and buckle their shoes and dust up the table. But it's nothing they hadn't thought of before. Maybe it will just help them accelerate their thinking a little bit more. All right. So I don't work for the PMP, the PMI. I don't, but so I appreciate your concern, Samad. Samad says, we know they are really losing money. What keeps the PMP above board is the security of the exam. What keeps the PMP above board is taking it at Pearson for sure. But at the same time, it's a ridiculous exam, Samad. Even if you said, Phil, wear a mask. Wear a mask and pretend to be me and take the exam. I would have a tough time taking the exam for you. Let's say I was unethical and I decided to wear a face mask and take the exam. I would have a tough time taking that exam for you. Talk less a student that has not gone through 15 years of training this content. It's not a cakewalk. Trust me. It's a hard exam. It's a hard exam. Brittany, yes. So I just gave people a little taste into, as far as things that are coming. And I'm sure that within the next number of days, the PMI will communicate information to us. Allegedly, it is meant to start on the 14th. Allegedly. Mutaz, how are you, Mutaz? Are you keeping up the momentum, my friend? I hope you're still studying. Please tell me that you are. Show me a sign. Mutaz says, I hope anyone thinks that he can cheat during the online PMP exam. Take the free. Oh, thank you, Mutaz. Thank you. You see what Mutaz is telling you? If you think you can cheat, go take the free mock exam and let me know what you get. Because even if you open up your PMBOK guide all day long, it won't help you on that exam. How much worse the actual exam? So, British, how you doing? I hope you are in the zone still. Are you still studying hard? You making headway? I really hope you are. It's great to see you on here. Fatty says, will there be an update to the new version? No, not yet. So, Fatty, go look my old videos. But what I let you know is the PMP exam is not changing until January 2nd, 2021. And when it changes, it is going to be based on the same old PMBOK guide. The PMBOK guide 6th edition. That's right, 6th edition. Okay? So for those of you that are just coming, that is what I showed earlier. And I really want to put a face to the name so I can assure Fatty that the PMI is not changing the PMBOK guide. So let me show you that really quick. Give me a second. All right. So for those of you that are not entirely sure about what you should be studying for the exam, the PMP exam, I really wanted to make it perfectly clear. The PMI are not changing. They're not changing the PMBOK guide to the 7th edition right now. That will happen in 2021. But if you're taking the PMP exam, this is the book. This one that you want to be studying. None of the other stuff that I showed you for demonstration purposes. And this. Agile Practice Guide, PMBOK Guide. Okay? So don't go off reading any old PMBOK guides. Like all the old ones I showed you, those brown and grayish looking ones, don't read those. Okay? Again, it's the PMBOK Guide 6th edition. Now, the PMBOK Guide 7th edition, it was billed to be released this year, but that's probably not going to happen with all this COVID nonsense going on. So we could probably look to 2021, most likely. I just received an email from the PMI last week with all my comments and all the critiques that I had sent in about the PMBOK Guide, and I know many of my other colleagues did as well. And another of my colleagues shared, his comments with us, and his comments and PMI's comments back. And it was quite interesting to see that a lot of what we had asked them to take heed to, that they actually did. They actually listen. And those of you that have watched my video where I critique the principles heavy approach without supporting it with good processes, it seems as though that is being considered. I don't know where they are with it, but one of my colleagues had a very similar approach to my displeasure, and the feedback was, okay, well, we'll reconsider doing this. So I'm hoping that they keep the 6th edition. I often say that the 6th edition, they almost got it right, like almost got it to the best. The 5th edition had some greatness that this doesn't have, but this is okay. If they had done some things in the 5th, left them as is, and added chapter 3, this would have been the biggest home run ever. So it's a combination of the 5th edition and the 6th edition. But going back to your point, Fatty, no, they're not changing the exam PMBOK guide to the 7th. Okay. The update to the test will be next year. Nissam, how you doing, Nissam? Sam says, thanks for coming in. What if my connection got lost during the exam? Very good question. That is something you do not want to happen. You do not want to let that happen. And that's why you should do the test. As I said a few seconds ago, go on to the Prometric, not Prometric, I'm sorry. That always happens in my broadcast. Good habits die hard. Bad habits die hard. Okay. I'm talking about Pearson. Go to the Pearson website and they have run system test. And that's what you want to do and make sure. But I know you can never say you will not get a system connection broken. It's a great question, and it's something that I should actually ask the PMI. So that's another great question. That's why I love meeting with you guys, because I share stuff with you, and then you bring up something, and then we share it with the PMI, and very good question. It would be unfair to penalize you, but if your connection gets broken, then it means that your questions also are unable to advance. So I think they may have some sort of security that shows them indeed your connection did get broken, and it wasn't because you did it knowingly. But we'll find out. I'm not sure how that would work. What I would imagine, this is just me imagining, the system would probably save what you did up to that point. And how do I know this? Because I had a poor student. At that time, it was in Prometric, and she was taking her exam, and she got to the point where there was a power cut because of a storm, and they had to get everybody out of the test center, and they were kind of suspended for about 30-40 minutes. But when they went back in, she was able to start her exam back up again and continue. So I'm hoping that some sort of consideration will be made for that. Professor Foxtrot, how you doing? Just wanted to say thanks for your videos. I wrote my exam without a functioning marker. Above targets. Well done. It's been a while I've seen you on this channel, but I'm excited that you've taken it and you're now a boss. Well done. Awesome. Awesome. British Talk CABM practice quiz. Really need to understand relationship of ITTOs. Absolutely. Follow my Get Good system. I've talked about this on YouTube. The Get Good system, GW2UD. Check that out. It's going to help you. What am I getting? What am I using? Where's what I'm getting going? Why is it going there? What am I doing? All those questions, they will help you. Okay. So I hope this encourages you, but it's very good questions that you guys are asking. So I appreciate your questions and your contributions and your concerns. Okay. Thank you very much. And I think PMI was they're a little bit hesitant. That's what I sense. Not that anyone told me. I just sense some hesitance to move ahead with this. But hey, PMI, if you're listening to me right now, you're doing the right thing. This one, you're doing the right thing. We need to move forward. So whatever we need to do for security, whatever we need to do to make the questions so tight that it would make no sense to even open up a PMBOK guide because the answer is not in it. The logic is the answer, and the logic is not in the PMBOK guide. That's one thing people miss. The logic. So, for example, you just finished a needs assessment. What should you do next? Should you do a benefits management plan? Should you do a project charter? Should you do a project scope statement? How do you search for that in the PMBOK guide? How do you search for that? No. To answer that question, you need to know that after a needs assessment should really come a business case. But if the business case is not one of the answers, then maybe benefits management plan is the best one before charter. If you don't know it, you don't know it. If you cannot think through the logic, you can't think through the logic. That's how the questions are, my friends. Okay? Oh, you're most welcome, Sadaf. Thank you. And I'm so glad you jumped on here after the class. Indeed, you are following the process of staying in sync with your buddy, Phil. So before I leave, do you have any other concerns about this PMP exam online? So we heard from a couple of our friends here regarding security concerns. Samad shared concerns. Fadi shared some information. access to an ebook from the computer, that's a valid concern. And honestly, a lot of PMPs, we're stakeholders. We do not want our hard work to be diminished by an exam that is so easy to cheat on. But trust me, I'm telling you, it's not easy to cheat on a PMP exam. Let me tell you what would have made it cool for cheats, or I should say uncool for cheats. People who cheat often share information when they shouldn't with others, so they cheat and they want others to cheat. On the PMP exam, let's say you had someone who wanted to divulge all sorts of questions to you. What happens if you do a whole 5 all-night brain crams for those questions? You get into the PMP exam, and out of the 200 questions that this person has dubiously shared with you, only 3 from what he shared or what she shared comes out. Only 3. This is what could happen. Why? Because the PMP exam is not just a finite set of 200, 500, 600 questions. I think those guys have got bucket loads of thousands of questions, many different permutations. Like when I asked the PMI a few years back, actually a decade ago now, my goodness, time flies. It was a decade ago, and they responded to me and they said, well, you do know that not every question on the PMP exam is weighted the same. So there are many unending possibilities for the PMP exam. I understand your concerns, and they're all valid, and I'm hoping at some point the PMI will address them the way I am. I'm not concerned. Let me be honest. I got certified in 2005. I have absolutely no hang-ups about the PMP exam being taken online. None. Zero. Why? Because I know what I experienced. I know that even if I had 5 PMBOK guides and I had them set to scope, schedule, cost, resources, and quality, I would still fail if I was going to fail. PMBOK guide did not help me. Open PMBOK guide would not have helped me to pass my exam. And I'm sure that 90% of the PMPs you ask, maybe even all 100%, they'll tell you the same thing. Open up PMBOK guide ain't going to help you. Even Mutaz, who hasn't taken the exam but has taken the mock exam, he's telling you, you think you can cheat on the PMP? Go take the PMI mock. See. No, Abimbola says, did they announce it officially? This is the song. I heard it through the grapevine being played over and over again. But it was shared by one of my esteemed colleagues, and this page. So let me show you. For those of you that are just coming, this page, I want to show you, because seeing is believing, right? This page, and I'm deliberately withholding the link, but this page is where you would go to register for the PMP online. It says, due to increased demand, check-in wait times may be up to 30 minutes. Why do you think this would happen all of a sudden? Because a lot of people know this page. It was shared with a specific group, specific set of individuals, and they had the first charge. But it's quite a massive charge, and that's why you can see that the poor system is buckling. You see. So this is where you would go to sign up for your PMP online exam. There's a page that precedes this, which I will not share at this time. But this is legitimate. This is not fake. Okay? This is not a fake page. It's reality. My esteemed colleague, Sandra, shared this, and I thought I owed it to you to give you some hope for the weekend. Okay. No, Mutaz, no breaks. No breaks. You cannot take breaks. Can I have my calculator? No, your calculator will be on the screen, British. It will be a little pop-up calculator on your screen. You cannot have a calculator or a sheet. Nope. You cannot have a calculator or a sheet. At least the PMI have not disclosed that the PMP is going to be any different. From what the PMI have disclosed, we are expecting this to be conducted the same way the ACP and the CAPM are conducted. And I would imagine, let me just say this to a lot of you that have not heard this from so many of us. But on the PMP exam, there's usually a misconception that, oh, I'm going to get earned value till the cows come home, and I'm going to get forward passes, backward passes. No. You're not going to get boatloads of that. Now, if you got 3, that's a good day. If you got 3 earned value questions and 3 network diagram questions, that's a good day. Typically, do you know how many questions people come back and say, oh, I actually had to use a calculator? You know how many questions those are? Most of the time, and I'm telling you from 15 years of experience in doing this, the average is 3 to 6. Between 3 and 6, that is the gamut of number of calculation questions that people say they got, that they needed a calculator for. You probably won't need a calculator very much, I can assure you. So don't worry, you will probably not need a calculator very much. Vera, how you doing? Vera says PMP exam and COVID-19 both have one way to free yourself from it. That is a profound statement. Very smart indeed. Stay home. If you want to be free from the PMP exam, do it at home. Because Pearson ain't open. Stay home. Do it. Okay. Thank you, Vera. That is very, very comedic, but very, very true. Okay. Which other questions have you got about the PMP or this whole process, or concerns? Or you just want someone to give you some insights into the PMI's dark world? It's not so dark anymore. It's going to be right there in your living room, right there in your office. So there's really nothing to be scared of taking any PMI exam. If you've done your homework, if you've done what you should, there's nothing to be afraid of. Trust me. Okay? Any other questions or concerns? Or comments that I can help you with? I'm still waiting for the PMI to make an announcement. They have been saying for a while that it will be mid-April. Well, they have done quite well in holding true to their promise. I'm quite happy that this news is coming, because a lot of us were running out of steam. We're fed up and not happy that our exam prep had come to a standstill. But now this is a ray of hope. So we'll just wait for the PMI to make a formal announcement, and we should be good. Okay? Any other questions or concerns? Okay. Well, I hope that gives some of you hope. Those of you who don't mind taking the exam at home, those of you who do and have some trepidation about it, I understand. Maybe not a good idea, but as Vera said, if you want to be free from COVID and PMP, you might want to do it at home. Farouk says, what if the internet is disconnected for for about a minute or two? Like I said a few minutes ago, I think what's going to happen is, if you're truly legitimately disconnected, their diagnostic systems will know that happened. It will save the exam from wherever you were, and you might be able to continue after. But I cannot for sure answer that. I'm only basing it on what happened in a previous PMP exam for a student, and she was able to jump back into the middle and start again. So I guess we'll find out. Gabriel, how you doing? Gabriel says, if I already paid and was only missing to make the appointment, so you get the code from PMI. You need that code to sign up, and you can use the code to register from your home the moment they communicate it to you. Okay? Vera says, God will help us, Phil. Please don't worry. Absolutely, do not worry. Thank you for the encouragement. How can you change it to do at home? So the moment it becomes officially available, Gabriel, you should be able to change it. And the PMI will communicate all of that to you. The PMI have already assured us that if you've paid for it to be done at a Prometric center, you're going to be able to change that appointment to take it from home. Okay. Samod says, it is a good thing, then we can move ahead. You're right, Samod. And, I totally understand your concerns, but like I'm telling you, no concern about the fidelity of the exam. It's a bad exam. Bad exam. Brittany says, so it should start the 14th. Allegedly. That's what the information says. So I'm going back to what my esteemed colleague shared on our registered education provider group, which is monitored by the PMI. Just got a conference call with Pearson VUE, the testing center for the PMP exam, and we learned the PMP exam is now available for scheduling as an online proctored test from your home or office. Online testing begins Tuesday, April 14th, but you can schedule it now if you have an approved application from the PMI and an exam authorization code. And we have a link. And going to that link takes you to this page. And takes you to this page. And that's where, although something has somewhat changed on this page, I think they probably know people are visiting it. So I've seen a few changes here. But that's it. So we're having a little banter in the group back and forth about this. But the purpose was not to give you the link for you to begin flying in there. The purpose was to let you know that this is coming and you should prepare. Okay? That's all I wanted. I wanted to come on and give you a little bit of hope. And we're looking forward to hearing more from PMI on this. Okay? Any other questions or concerns? I've been hearing a lot about the concerns of the fidelity of the exam and things such as that. Thank you, Stephen. I'm glad you got an answer to that. Thank you, Gabriel. Narendra, how you doing? Narendra says, what type of IT hardware? Very good question. Very, very good question. Let me see if I can find that information for you. And I'm going to paste it into the chat. So this is the operating system. All Linux and Unix based operating systems are strictly prohibited. They want this to be obviously a Windows operating system for reasons best known to us. As far as a firewall, they do not want you to take your exam in a setting with a corporate firewall. So let me share this information with you as well. Do not take your exam in a setting with a corporate firewall, including VPN, or alert your network administrator to the network configuration requirements. We recommend testing on a personal computer. The display, minimum resolution 1024 by 768, 16-bit color. See that? A consistent connection of 1 megabits per second is required. We recommend testing on a wired network as opposed to a wireless network. And that will definitely help you not get bumped off. Tethering to a mobile hotspot is explicitly prohibited. And they will be able to monitor your signal and know all of this stuff. So I want to make sure that it's right, because your system would probably fail the test. Webcam must have a minimum resolution of 640 by 480, 10 frames per second. That's doable with most these days. Webcam may be internal or may be external and connected to the computer. Mac users need to follow the on view within their system preferences, security and privacy settings for microphone, camera, automation, and input monitoring. Sound and microphone. Verify the audio and microphone are not set on mute. So they want to be able to monitor the environment as you're taking the exam. And if they get any sound that is not just the ambience that's right there in the room, then that could be trouble for you. Go watch my previous video. I shared a lot of this stuff. And internet cookies must be enabled. Any pop-up blocking settings must be disabled. All tablets are strictly forbidden unless it has a physical keyboard and also meets the operating system requirements mentioned earlier. Power. Ensure you're connected to a power source before starting your exam to avoid draining your battery during the exam. And there's some other things here. Where can I test? You can test at your home or in your office. Wherever you test, you should be in a walled room, so they want you to show that. How do I know my computer will work with the software? Perform a system test. It's available on Pearson's site. Can I receive any exam assistance? You may not receive assistance from other individuals while taking the exam, and you may not allow other individuals to see the computer screen that presents the exam questions. If another person enters the room while you are testing, your exam will be terminated. The proctor cannot answer questions related to exam content. Is technical software assistance available during the exam? Most technical issues can be avoided by completing a system test in advance. Common technical issues are lack of a stable internet connection and, going back to Samad's concern and Fatty's concern, running illegal applications during the exam, both of which the system test can indicate exactly what I was telling you guys. So if you've got an unstable connection or you're running an illegal program, the system knows. Either way, staff is on hand to support the issue. Please see the customer service information on this page if you require assistance. So by taking this exam, let's make it bigger. It's a small print. By taking this exam, you acknowledge that the proctor will continuously monitor you by video and audio while you take the exam. You acknowledge and consent to audio and video recording of your face, voice, the physical room where you're seated, and the location during the exam delivery. You recognize that you have no right to privacy at your current location during your exam delivery, and that you waive any and all claims asserting to a right of privacy. If you do not wish to be recorded, either by video or audio, please notify the proctor immediately of your intent to not proceed with the exam. If you do not follow the online proctored policies or are suspected of cheating, watch this now, or tampering with Pearson views or its subcontractor software, if a third party is detected in the physical room where you're seated during the exam will be immediately terminated. This will be reported to Pearson View and the testing sponsor/program along with the audio and or video evidence of the infraction. Your exam may be invalidated and the testing sponsor program may take other actions such as decertifying you and precluding all future participation in the testing program. And you have some additional stuff. So when you guys said, I don't think this page is legitimate, look, it says, when can I schedule my PMP, ACP, or CAPM? If this was not legitimate, why do you think PMP is in this list? Online proctored exams are able to be scheduled online 24/7. See? So, my friends, that is it. All of the information that you need is on this page. And I'm sure there will be further updates from Prometric as we proceed. But for now, that's all I got. And I hope that answers your question and takes care of any concerns. Okay? Oh, you're welcome, Narendra. Okay. I wish you guys all the very best. I'm rooting for your success. You guys, look, honestly, I think you deserve to pass the exam just by virtue of how dogged and rugged and tough you've been, staying the course, reading the book, and doing all that you've done. All right? It's that time we got to shut it down. But thank you all very much. And I look forward to hearing great news of your success. I'm first of all looking forward to hearing PMI put out the legitimate formal announcement. And then it will be off to the races to schedule your exams. Okay? Take care, my friends. I wish you all the very best, and bye for now.